Who was Patanjali? What was the nature of Yoga Shastra, which he propounded? What was the nature of yoga before Patanjali? What form did it take after Patanjali? We seek the answers with our journey into India's 6,000 years of known history. Is the history of yoga linked to the history of religion and faith? Or is it the story of an honest effort by man to conquer disease, old age, and death?
Ladies and gentlemen, this was a film by the two panelists today. So, namaskar, ladies and gentlemen. I am Vimal Baklu, former chairman, managing director of TCIL and board director of Public Police NGO. I welcome you all to today's event. First of all, I wish you all a very eventful International Yoga Day on behalf of the Public Police NGO. We at Public Police NGO have been holding webinars on number of subjects in the past also. These include safety and security of our bank deposits, feasibility of CCTV systems in the police stations, human rights implementation in India, telemedicine in mitigating health challenges, justice for under trials in India, misleading advertisements in pharma industry, misleading advertisements in other sectors, uniform civil code, social security challenges of senior citizens. We had 3 episodes on that. Women's empowerment, Bharat Nyaya Samhita, community policing, India's real estate odyssey, impact of artificial intelligence in our lives, orienting police force for public service, Delhi's anti-pollution vehicle policy, National Education Policy 2020. These webinars and podcasts on these subjects have been uploaded on our Public Police NGO channel on the YouTube. Today, the subject of our discussion in this series on the International Yoga Day is the history of yoga.
Yeah. Hello.
The history of yoga is a vast, profound journey spanning about 5,000 years, rooted in ancient India. It evolved from an meditative spiritual science into global holistic wellness practice we see today. The word itself originates from the Sanskrit root yuj, which means to yoke, join or unite, signifying the union of individual consciousness with the universal consciousness. The earliest hints of yoga emerged from the Indus Valley civilization, and archaeologists discovered the ancient soapstone called the famous Pashupati seal, which depicts the figure seated in positions closely resembling the meditative Padmasana. In the Vedic era, yoga was a fluid oral tradition taught directly from gurus to disciple. Sage Patanjali synthesized these scattered ideas into the synthetic framework within Yoga's Sutra. Patanjali defined yoga clearly, Yoga Chit Vritti Nirodha, which means yoga is the cessation of the fluctuations of the mind. He introduced the Ashtanga Yoga, the 8-limbed path, which includes Yama, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dhyan, Dharana, and Dhyan, and Samadhi. The transition of yoga from a scheduled monastic practice to a global movement happened in waves across 19th and 20th centuries. Swami Vivekananda addressed the Parliament of Religions in Chicago, introducing Vedanta and the philosophical foundations of yoga to the Western world, sparking immense intellectual interest. Often called the father of modern yoga, Sri Krishnamacharya blended traditional Hatha yoga with elements of Western gymnastics and anatomy and made it popular. And his students, BKS Iyengar, Patabi Joyce, and Indra Devi took it forward. And Paramahansa Yoganand is known for popularizing its meditative aspects. The United Nations declared 21st June as the International Day of Yoga, cementing its status as an invaluable gift of ancient tradition to the entire modern world, celebrated by millions globally. Today, yoga is a beautiful blend of ancient psychology, modern physiological wellness, whether prescribed with deep spiritual philosophy, stress management, or physical strength. Its core objective remains unchanged. That is, bringing harmony, balance, and unity to the human experience. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today we are privileged to interact with a couple who have contributed immensely through their documentary films towards rediscovering the Indic ethos, which had been suppressed and distorted during the colonial rule and the slavery of a millennia. They are Dr. Deepika Kothari and Sri Ramji Om. So I thought it would make sense to hear from the horse's mouth and requested Dr. Deepika ji and Ramji for their valuable time to deliberate on this topic, which also happens to be the title of their film, The History of Yoga, The Path of My Ancestors. The documentary is a 6,000-year journey into origin, evolution, and development of yoga. The story explores the elements of yoga in Harappa civilization, Veda, Jainism, Buddhism, Sufism, Hatha yogic practices of medieval times, and other peripheral doctrines. The film ends in 19th century, where modern science acknowledges the potential of yoga in new light. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it has been filmed at 137 locations across India, Europe, and US, in 84 archaeological sites, 37 museums, libraries, temples, and shrines. 30 scholars were consulted. 18 of them appear in the film, voice of Sri Brij Bhushan in Hindi and Sri Kabir Bedi in English. It's available in English, Hindi, Spanish, Portuguese, French, German, Hebrew, Chinese. India's magnificent iconography, the temple art, diverse culture, and ancient relics, wall paintings, manuscripts, and folk art unfold with the wisdom of yoga in this path-defining documentary. The directors, Deepika Kothari is PhD in physics, now a documentary filmmaker on Indian thought, cultural heritage, world civilizations, and yoga under Vishuddhi Foundation. History of Yoga was her first film. It was screened at all the Indian missions abroad by Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India, on the International Yoga Day in 2014 and 15. And it has been telecast on Doordarshan, National, DD Bharati, and DD Lok Sabha. Also, it was shown at various premier institutions like IITs, IISc, IIMs, state colleges and schools, Kendriya Vidyalayas, international universities like MIT, UIUC, Iowa, Dartmouth, Texas, and Google headquarters, and many other across the globe. The Indian Civilization series of 10 films has also been released. It is a grand narrative of Bharat. The recent project is on temples of Khajuraho. One of the films released is Vaikuntha Vishnu, Tibet to Khajuraho. And next is Kandariya Mahadev on Shavya Darshan. The co-director of this film is Ramji Om. He is IRAS, Principal Financial Advisor, Construction, North Frontier Railway. His passion for filmmaking inspired him to write scripts of his documentary films. He has done cinematography of these films across India and various international sites and museums. And this is available on YouTube channel of Vishuddhi Films. So we welcome you both to this webinar on International Yoga Day. Today, we are privileged to have our chairman and former Chief Justice of India and Chairman, National Human Rights Commission, K.G. Balakrishnan, with us, who has been actively participating in this webinar series of Public Police NGO. To begin with, I'll request our chairman, Justice Balakrishnan, for his opening remarks.
I am not able to. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You're audible, but
My photographs is not seen.
we can't see you, sir.
Okay. All right. The only thing is that I am not an expert in yoga. I was closely listening to Mr. Vimal Vaklu. He has given important information about yoga, history, its history, as its development and all. So I am watching this yoga performance of many, but from childhood I could not follow this yoga. So it is high time to practice it. But it is a wonderful system by which you regulate your body, you regulate your systematic life. So it should help you in developing a good, healthy life, and that will, in all ways, it will work out. And I'm sure now the yoga, which was about 10 years practice, 10 years ago, it was not heard at all for widely. But now it is heard, and our dear Prime Minister also is deeply interested in this yoga. Yes, so that itself is a great thing. So I request more and more people to come to practice this yoga. I wish all success to this webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your address. I'm sure this would serve as a food for thought during the course of our interaction with our panelists. Now we come to interaction with these two outstanding Indians who have been investing their time and energy in unraveling the invaluable contribution of Indian ethos to the world. Well, Deepika ji, I have gone through your wonderful documentary on history of yoga. Congratulations to both of you. You're basically a physicist. What exactly inspired you to work on this project of filmmaking, and that too on the history of yoga? Please unmute yourself, Deepika ji.
Namaste, Honorable Justice Balakrishnan and other esteemed guests here. It's such a privilege to be part of this webinar. You've had very many important topics covering this webinar and enlightening people. Our film is a small, I think, part in this whole huge gamut of Indian ethos. Yoga is a very important tool, no doubt about it. But since I was trained in physics, and it's very important to know what inspired me to do this. I mean, a lot of people ask me this question, but even I was unknown about it unless and until I contemplated much later about it. And I found that there were three impressions in my childhood which actually culminated into making this film. And for every child, the impressions that one gets basically turns into actions in later life, and it governs the actions also in life, I mean, all through. So there was one word which my grandfather, Dr. D.S. Kothari, he was a scientist, and when he was at the Cavendish Laboratory in Cambridge, in the early 1920s, when a lot of new revolutionary ideas were floated and were discovered. Atom was discovered and all. So that time there was this new science that was coming, and on the other side he was from the land of a very long traditions and spiritual traditions basically. So he thought, what is it? This science is very physical, about the nature of reality in the physical world, and there in back home people talk very deep about the inner world. So he used to use this word in his lectures, beyond science. This all is beyond science. So when I was very young, I could hear, I mean, there were a lot of Nobel laureates and other very many big people used to come to our house and they used to have discussions. So as a child, I heard beyond science, beyond science. So I was also doing physics later, and then I thought, what is this beyond science? And I had no idea about all these things, although we had a lot of Upanishads and a lot of dharmic granths at home. So this word was one impression in my life in the early days. The second one was that later he did a conference on yoga, science, and man. This was the first conference where science and yoga was discussed and deliberated in a very modern way. Earlier, it was those people, traditional people, doing yoga and other Sanskrit texts and all. I mean, they were discussing, and science was very separate. So here they all got together and thought if we could understand each other and see where the connection is. If there is no connection, then where man stands. I mean, this was very important. So this also was one impression which really inspired me. And then the next one was when my father, being a medical doctor at Rabindranath Tagore Medical College, Udaipur, he conducted an experiment.
Actually, my request is if you keep it for the next, I mean, that's a very interesting thing. I think that we should have a separate point for that. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So,
well, the next question is that there are many films on yoga in the public domain at the national and international level. What is the USP of your film which distinguishes your film from the rest?
I think we made this film as another PhD. We thought we must do a lot of research. There were very many yoga popular across the world, and we were wondering that we had this Patanjali Yoga Sutra in our hands. So where do we stand amongst this whole gamut of yoga, different kinds of yoga and different names, which has no connection with this Patanjali Yoga Sutra in many ways. So we thought we must make something very authentic. And since we didn't have this background of yoga and I must say Sanskrit and our Indian scriptures and all, so we thought, why not take support of scholars? So
Yeah.
we came into touch with very many scholars of very many different fields, and we discussed a number of times from India and outside also. And the first one was Professor Dayanand Bhargav of Jaipur. He was a Vedic scholar, and he was a Sanskritist, and he knew Prakrit and all. So we knew him, so we went to him first. And when he heard, he looked at us and he said, "No, you cannot make. What is it? What a weird idea to make a film on yoga." And he knew our background. But then we discussed a lot many things. Then he realized, he saw our passion and all, and he said, "We want to do something about it, and with your help." So he, उन्होंने पीठ जोर जोर से थपथपाई राम जी की and gave us आशीर्वाद. He said, "Okay, I'm with you. You start. It's a daunting task, but let's start." And he gave his first interview in which he explained to us from the Rig Veda the first word that comes, which has connection in yoga, and that was the Gayatri mantra, Dhimahi, Dhyan Kare. Dhyan kiska kare? Creativity, Srajan ka. सविता का सविता
Sorry.
सविता का तो ये ऐसे करके he started explaining us and then he went on to the shloka of Upanishad in which he said कि हमारी इंद्रियों को ईश्वर ने बाहर की ओर छेदा है, so we बाहर की ओर ही हम प्रवृत्त रहते हैं. Now yoga is to bring all the senses within and look within. So this
Within.
was pratyahar, it is called, and that's how. And we thought we need to authenticate it very well. So every single sentence is authenticated by some very first-hand
Follow.
evidence.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you. I mean, that's very interesting. That's how it's set apart. Now, well, Ramji, we really appreciate your passion for film making and the script writing for the documentaries. Now, despite your busy schedule, you have been able to focus on this. Can you talk about what the challenges in the script writing have been?
नमस्ते
Namaste.
सभी esteemed guest को मेरा प्रणाम. There were actually two main challenges for writing the script. First is the story. Any film, whether it is a documentary or feature film, you need a story. So finding a story in 5,000 years history, and that too in a complex history, very rich history, was a challenge. So actually we made this Patanjali classic yoga as a starting point, and the search for before Patanjali and after Patanjali, what was the yoga, that become a story.
Okay.
The second thing is that, as Deepika ji told us, all of us, that Dr. Dayanand Bhargav, he said कि ये बहुत महान आइडिया है आपका, लेकिन इसको दिखाओगे कैसे? How will you show? Because film is a visual medium. So that was really a challenging task कि क्या हम दिखाएंगे? Because most of the archaeological evidences from ancient India got destroyed by the invaders, and later on the remaining artifacts were taken away by the colonizers. तो जो बचा है वो बहुत कम है.
जी.
But उस समय तो it was all in 2003. उस समय तो इतना ज्ञान नहीं था. But आज मैं आप सभी पैनलिस्ट को बताना चाहता हूँ कि ये क्या चीज का चमत्कार हुआ. आज मेरे हाथ में देखिए ये शुक्र नीति सार है.
जी.
तो ये नीति का ग्रंथ है, लेकिन इसमें मूर्ति के बारे में लिखा है. देखिए क्या लिखते हैं. ध्यान योगस्य संसिद्धे प्रतिमा लक्षणम स्मृतम प्रतिकर्माकार को मृत्यो यथा ध्यान रतो भवेत् तथा नान्येन मार्गेण प्रत्यक्षेणापि वा कर्म. मैं एक लाइन में इसको बताता हूँ. ध्यान योग की भलीभांति सिद्धि के लिए प्रतिमा रूपी साधन मुख्य कहा गया है. देखिए क्या कह रहे हैं, प्रतिमा. और फिर आगे बोल रहे हैं क्योंकि मूर्तिकार मानव जैसे ध्यान में लीन होता है, वैसे निश्चय ही अन्य मार्ग से या प्रत्यक्ष देव दर्शन से भी ध्यान में लीन नहीं हो सकता.
बिल्कुल.
तो ये तो देन वी स्टार्टेड सर्चिंग कि हमारी जो प्रतिमाएं बनी है, और हमारे मुंबई के पास ही जो एलिफेंट मंदिर है, वहां हम जाते थे. तो मैं देखता था कि जब भी मैं वहां जाता था तो वो, मैं वैसे बहुत बचपन से ही योग और का अभ्यासी हूँ, लेकिन we all know it is very difficult to control the mind. We try our best, but whenever I used to see the प्रतिमा of भगवान शिव, सदाशिव, तो एक कुछ होता था, चित्त में स्थिरता आती थी. तो मुझे वहां से एक क्लू मिला कि हम लोग प्रतिमाओं से ये दिखाएंगे, और वही इसमें है. फिर कुछ इनेक्ट करवाए गए, कुछ सीन्स इनेक्ट किए हुए हैं, जैसे पतंजलि का सीन. So these were the challenges, and we could overcome with the blessings of the seniors and
nice. Really, I mean, you have really worked hard on this. बहुत अच्छा लगा सुन के. So, Deepika ji, as was mentioned in the introduction, this film was shot at 123 locations, including abroad. What were the challenges that you faced while shooting the film in the international locations and uh, interaction with people?
Uh, since there are very many very senior government officials, I would like to give one incidence. There are many. Uh, when we were to film this, and we, as Ramji said, we wanted to film the archaeological sites and museums. So the best place was to go to ASI, Archaeological Survey of India.
Mhm.
So we went to Director General Archaeological Survey of India. That time he was Gautam Sen Gupta ji, and we were pretty young at that age from now. And when we went there, we told him the whole story that we want to make a film and all. And he knew we had no background, but when he heard yoga, and he cleared the table and he said, "Okay, let's order tea." And he said, "I want to listen to you." That was the real turning point, I must say. He listened to the whole project, and he said, "I will give you permission to film across India in 11 circles." That time, every circle had many cities, many huge areas. I mean, some states also. And I would give you this permission to film. By evening, he said, "You please stay back." And we came from Mumbai. So he said, "No, you just stay back." And we stayed. And by evening, we got this letter.
Later.
And this letter is amazing because I used to write to every site. I mean, we had to first search in a lot of books where are the possibility of having yoga sculptures and all that.
Okay.
It's just not the yoga postures that are important. It's just not the hatha yoga which is important. It is the complete yoga in which dhyan is also there, dharana is there, samadhi is there, yam and niyam, two very important limbs about which very few people talk. These are there. So all of that we had to search for in temples. So we went to those circles, and attached to those, for every museum we had to take separate permissions. So it was, of course, a very difficult task because we had to write letters, mails, and then go to the site. And since Ramji is in job, I left my job, and we had Saturday, Sunday, and sometimes Friday night and all. So we used to travel to those places and film. So that was in India. And then he got to go to Europe for his training, his management training at the European Management School in Paris and then London. So his batchmate, I also went with him on a separate ticket. But then his batchmate used to move around and enjoy in the evening, and we used to rush to the museum, or I used to rush to the museum in the daytime. And I searched many museums in London and Paris, and fortunately we found uh, huge artifacts. And then I interacted with the officials also there. And then he had training in Southeast Asia. There also I went, and then we covered all 5 major countries, and we filmed there. So that was another thing. Then when we were invited to US, we filmed across US many museums and all.
Museums.
So yeah, that was
Yeah,
our.
thank you. Very interesting. I mean, it's been a long journey that way. And I'm happy that hats off to the ASI chief who helped you in the process. Thank you. Well, Deepika ji, information dissemination and education are two important tools for shaping the minds of children of any country who are the youth and leaders of tomorrow. In what way do you think your film is going to impact the youth of tomorrow in India?
I didn't get. There was some miss.
Acha, I'll repeat the question. Uh, you know, information dissemination and education are two important tools for shaping the minds of children in any country who are youth and leaders of tomorrow. In what way do you think your film is going to impact the youth of tomorrow in India?
Uh, Actually, now the world is going at a very fast pace in the outer world, and we know what would be the result. Of course, every human on earth knows about it, although they may ignore it. So, in what India can give to the world is very important. And if our youth is ready for this knowledge that there is diversity on planet, and we must mutually respect the diversity and not digest other cultures and all that. Instead, let us all flower together. That is the only thing which will allow all to exist together. If we have this very fast pace of scientific adventure in the field of, say, AI and other things, then I think it's going to be very dangerous for humanity and this beautiful planet Earth. So yoga, especially two basic limbs of yam and niyam. We are a billion people. I mean, more than about a billion people, and if our children really use these two tools of, I mean, propagate these two things, yam and niyam, on AI and how to use it, then I think it will bombard this whole AI thing, and the information will go across the world that these are the things we must also know. This is something which can save us, and we all can live together. Let us not fight and indulge in conflict and conflict and conflict. I mean, that is out of greed that we are indulging in conflict. We're not going to get anything out of it. So this is what is important, and our film has the potential to give this message. This is what
Yeah. Thank you. Actually, Ramji, of course, you have a busy schedule as an IRAS officer of Government of India. What were the cinematographic challenges you faced while doing this outstanding film?
So today, actually, there are a lot of advancements in filming, and various tools are easily available. Even the mobile phone, we can make good films. But in 2003, there was not much, and we had to improvise a lot of instruments to meet the BBC broadcast standard criteria, their broadcast criteria. So we improvised, we brought tools and assembled them, reassembled them. And but when actually Doordarshan also adopted those standards, then it became very easy for us to qualify those things. So we could manage. In those days, people told me that their documentary budget is equal to our feature film budget. So I got scared. We got scared because we did not have that much budget. So then we invented certain things. For example, I brought a video recorder. It was just a very small recorder, which US Army used in Gulf War. So that company started giving that after the war is over. That company started giving it to the independent filmmakers. So somehow I got a connection. I brought that. I bypassed actually the normal cameras, codec and circuitry, and this is how we invented. Now today there are gimbals and stabilizers, but in those days we used to actually make arrangements for camera movements and taking these things at very difficult locations. For example, in Nepal, Gorkha, we 4 or 5 team, only 4 or 5 people, heavy cameras and lights. We took them to very difficult locations. So this was really a difficult task.
10,000 steps, climbing with all the
early morning, so that we can get the sunrise shot.
Yeah, I can imagine what tough how tough
One
it must be.
just want to add one thing, that Sri Aurobindo had really defined Indian culture, especially art, in a very different way. And he had asked one Miss Elizabeth, who had come to India, to film these sculptures. And he said how to film them. So we saw that, we got that book and we saw this, and how eyes and the dhyanast eyes and the hands, the beautiful curves of the body and the ornaments and different things. We came to know that vision was from Sri Aurobindo's. So
Yeah.
that also helped us a lot to
और मैं
capture.
यहाँ पे ऐड करना चाहता हूँ अपने जो भी दर्शक हैं कि this sculpture has such a हमारी जो मूर्ति है स्कल्पचर नहीं कहना चाहिए, we should use our own
Murtis,
words.
yeah.
तो जो प्रतिमा है
Yeah.
उनमें इतनी शक्ति है कि जब मैं I was filming at 64 Yogini temple at Bedaghat and उड़ीसा में, तो उस समय तो एलसीडी नहीं होता था, एक आईपीस ऐसे वो व्यू फाइंडर से मैं देखता था पूरे दिन। तो रात को उनके मेरे को स्वप्न आते थे वही। तो एक जिसको आप डिवाइन एक्सपीरियंस बोलते हैं, आपको टेक्स्ट पढ़ने से नहीं आएगा। मेरा ये कहने का है कि if we can do Tratak on these beautiful प्रतिमाएं, Tratak means concentrating your eye gaze on a particular object for a very long time, then things happen automatically.
Very nice, thank you. Actually, Deepika ji, you also mentioned about the experience. I have seen your father's film. That's Mr. L.K. Kothari, who talked about research on a yogi buried inside a trench. And I think you were about to say about that in your first interjection. So that is a very interesting story. I think you'll share it with the participants. Yeah.
किस समय जाना हमने?
Is it okay?
Just a moment. Please, I'll request rest of the people to mute themselves. Some iPhone still, not on mute. Deepika ji, please continue. We'll just see. We'll sort this out. Yeah.
In the 70s, we were at R&T Medical. I mean, we were in Udaipur, and my father was a medical doctor there. So one Mr. Sri Satyamurthy Yogi, he had come in contact with my father, and he said that, I don't know, his shishya said he can do a feat. I mean, it's a yogic wo kuch kriya kar sakte hain, and would he allow him to do it? So my father said, why not do it in our college, medical college and hospital. So in the premises of medical college, they took permission from the collector and the police SP, because it was a feat in which a yogi could die also. So they got the permission, and a pit was dug. I mean, 5 feet by 5 feet by 5 feet down under the ground. And this yogi was, he came with his disciples, and then he was lean and thin, probably in his 70s, or we can't gauge his, judge his age. And all his parameters were checked. I mean, blood pressure and all the physical parameters. He was perfectly fine, and he had not eaten anything for a few days. His stomach was empty. So then, with mantrochar and all that, he went to the pit, and then he went inside. The doctors also went inside, and there was a small platform made of mud. He sat on it, and there was a small water pot that was kept inside. It was pitch dark. Probes were put on his hand. I mean, his heartbeat and pulse and temperature and everything was being recorded. So there was one antenna also to know what was happening. And then it was sealed with cement. So this yogi then was inside. And me and my sister were there. My father took us both, and we saw this whole thing happening. And then we asked our father, what will happen if the yogi dies? He said, no, he will not die. This is what he told us. But 7 days passed. And on the seventh day, what happened was when he went inside, soon after his pulse rate started, he became feeble. His heartbeat went down, 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 and there was a straight line. And the doctors outside were very worried. Things were completely out, as if the person is no more. And they got panic, and they informed the Shishya, please take him out. He is no more, and it's going to be very dangerous. They informed the collector and the SP also. They said what to do, and the disciples refused completely. They said, no, we will stay here and do mantrochar for 7 days, and we are very sure we are responsible for it. After 7 days, on the 8th day, the pit was opened in the morning. The yogi was sitting inside, and slowly his pulse rate started coming, and his heartbeat also started coming. I mean, his body was very cold. He was brought out, and they did some massage and all that. And after an hour or two, he became all right. This whole experiment was then published in the American Heart Journal, and all the leading Indian newspapers published this news on in the front page, and across the world it also was published in the leading newspapers, saying that Indian yogi went into the pit and did this yogic feat and all that, which was unthinkable at that time. And later, of course, Hubbard Benson also came to India and did some experiments on monks of Dalai Lama and all. So Tibetan monks. So that was another thing. But this was the first experiment, and then it was being taught and discussed across the world how this thing can happen. It is a yogic siddhi, and then he performed his experiments at number of places. That's what we came to know about, and this was something which was amazing. And
this is the power of yoga. Yeah,
yes,
this
absolutely. I don't know whether it was power of yoga or something else. Yeah.
Of course, Deepika ji, you know, the last shloka in your film is Mahajano Yen Gata Sa Pantha, which implies that the path is the true path which has been trodden by great personalities. Could you please, I mean, this is of course from Mahabharata, I know, but could you explain the context here? Yeah.
Yes, in Mahabharat one parv, there is Yaksha and Yudhishthir Samvad, and Yaksha says that the full shloka, and Yaksha says, जब तर्क से मार्ग ना मिले और जब ऋषि भी कोई प्रमाण न दे सकें और शास्त्र भी जब ना कुछ मतलब दो राहें बताएं और बदल अलग-अलग contradictory, not contradictory but different answer दें, then the only answer is महाजनो येन गतः स पंथा. जहां से महान विद्वान लोग गए हैं वही मार्ग है, वही पथ है. इससे हमने अपनी फिल्म को समाप्त किया है, क्योंकि सारे जो हमारे 6000 साल का हमने इतिहास दिखाया, उसमें बहुत सारे महान पुरुषों ने अपना contribution दिया, one after the other, and all different doctrines of India and even the tribals, and all of them have actually given us this knowledge, and it has come down to us. So where our Mahajans have gone. That is the path, and we must follow it. And same is in the world, where you can see across the world in different tribes and different civilizations, wherever Mahajan, they all walk the path of the Mahajans.
Mahajans.
Yeah.
Thank you. Actually, since you have screened the movie abroad, during that phase, I mean, both of you, is there anything special you would like to share with us?
One incident.
Smithsonian.
Okay. This film was actually, we completed this film in 2013. It took us long. 11 के बाद 13 में English में आ गई थी. And then some people from US approached us, our Indians approached us that there is going to be a very big exhibition on transformation, on art of transformation, yoga, art of transformation at the Smithsonian Institute. And Smithsonian, as you know, is a huge museum. There's a series of museums there. So they wanted to film this, and they had they had asked for all the relics and Pratima, Murti, and paintings and manuscripts. All they have collected from the world and from different museums across the world that had been stolen from India, and they had collected. So it was a huge, huge exhibition. So they came to know, these Indians came to know about our film, and they told us, why not screen this film? So they approached the curator, Deborah Diamond. Then she said, okay, I want to see the film before we really screen it. So I was, I got the contact. So I sent to Deborah this film. She saw the film, she praised it, and she said it's very nice and all that. But yoga started only 200 BC. You are going 6,000 years of history, 2,000 years back. That time there was no yoga. So, and you're showing many other things. So maybe it will.
Even the Pasupati seal, they objected.
The Indus Valley seal also, they objected. No, this is not yoga and all that. So it is 200 BC. This is what. And you would be surprised to know that this film was not screened. But our Indians were very enthusiastic. So they booked a hall behind Capitol Hill in Cactus Room. They even invited Michelle Obama, and they screened this film there parallel to that exhibition. So, of course, then our tour happened and we went across US.
Great, great. I mean, it's really very interesting. Thank you very much. Of course, you are the true ambassadors of Indian ethos, I would say. So, Deepika ji and Ramji, there are many more questions that your invaluable film has triggered in my mind. But since we have limited time, we'll have to stop here and keep some time for the question and answers from other participants. Maybe we'll have to have another session some other time. Thank you. Any questions from our friends over here? The session is open for question and answers. Please raise your hand, the person.
We can get the film, Waklu Saab.
Pardon? Yeah. The
Can
film,
we see?
yeah.
Can we see this film where it is available?
Yeah. We'll we'll keep a link also.
Right.
Films. It's.
This is what I was requesting, sir.
Yeah. We'll do that. We'll put the link where you can see the full film.
Right, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Acha, any other questions?
सर एक चीज अभी ये योगा जो है ये 200 एगो BC started लेकिन जो है ये कहा जाता है इसमें कि श्री कृष्ण जी जो है ये महान योगाचार्य थे। क्या इसमें क्या जो है वो है?
आप शायद क्रोनोलॉजी के बारे में क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं। आई थिंक इट
जी जी जी।
इज क्रोनोलॉजी. So at that time, now, of course, the latest research pushes the chronology about 1000 years back, which we at that time we were making films. This chronology was, they used to say, well accepted, this dating of Bhagavad Gita and Mahabharata. Even Professor B.V. Lal dated it around 800 BC. But now it is before, I think, 2000 BC, the Mahabharata time.
Yes.
And we, as we have understood it, both of us, we date this around 3200 BC, the Mahabharata war and all that. But the Bhagavad Gita and the Mahabharata text, which we have in front of us, it might be as late as 5th century AD. Because there were a lot of
Actually, the interesting thing is that one very renowned archaeologist, Professor Dr. S.R. Rao, excavated Lothal and Dwarka. He said in Indus Valley.
अपने होटल में ही बैठे हुए थे.
Please mute yourself.
In Indus Valley civilization, the god himself is sitting in yogic posture. So yoga was already there. I mean, you can't really say that it happened here or there. You can't date them.
5,000.
Yes, 5,000.
Yeah, maybe beyond that, because it is already in a form. It has come in a form, so it must be before that.
If we go by the Indian Shastras like Srimad Bhagavatam, Kapil Dev Muni, he was one of the earliest Munis, and he also was a part of, yoga. Lot of Sankhya yoga. It started with him. He is supposed to be an incarnation of Sri Hari. So 6,000 is just to tell people that it's not too early, but the fact is that it may be millions of years back, not only 6,000 years. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, traditionally.
Yeah. Any other question, please? So, if there are no questions, so then I feel that because we have almost so.
Devdaji wants to ask something.
Yeah.
Member Secretary.
Yeah. Yes. Please, Devdat ji.
ना माइक्रोफोन ऑन करिए देवदत्त सर. माइक ऑफ है आपका.
या अच्छा, मैं
हाँ जी.
देवभूमि उत्तराखंड जो नेशनल कैपिटल है योग चैंपियनशिप की, ऋषिकेश से आप सबका स्वागत करता हूं. और आपको जानकारी होगी कि ऋषिकेश में इंटरनेशनल योगा चैंपियनशिप हर वर्ष होती है, जिसमें सारे विश्व के सभी योग के लोग यहाँ पर उपस्थित होते हैं. अभी जो बात चल रही थी, तो मैं दीपिका कोठारी जी और राम जी के जो प्रयत्न हैं उनको मैं भूर मेरी प्रशंसा है इस बात की कि आपने योग के संबंध में इतनी जबरदस्त जानकारी दी है. मैं बताना चाहूंगा कि मैं योग के बारे में एक ही बात कहूंगा, जब से संसार में प्रकृति की रचना हुई है, योग की रचना उसी दिन से हो गई.
सही है.
संसार में जितने भी प्राणी हैं, जितने क्रिएचर्स हैं, चाहे पक्षी हों, ये हवा में उड़ने वाले पक्षी हों, या जल में रहने वाले हमारे जितने भी जीव हैं, और जो भी हमारे धरती पर चलने वाले जीव हैं उनका कोई डॉक्टर नहीं है किसी प्रकार का, केवल डॉक्टर मनुष्य जाति के लिए है। तो और सारे योग के जितने भी हमारे योग हैं सब पशु पक्षियों के नाम से ही सारे योग को नामकरण दिया गया है। तो ये कहना कि कब से शुरू हुआ है, तो मैं तो एक ही बात कहूंगा कि जिस दिन से संसार की उत्पत्ति हुई उसी दिन से ये योग चालू हो गया। और भगवान श्री कृष्ण जो योगेश्वर कहलाते हैं, महादेव बहुत बड़े योग के वो रहे हैं।
आदि
तो
योग।
मैं तो कहूंगा कि
योग।
योगेश्वर भगवान श्री कृष्ण जो हैं वो सबसे बड़े योगाचार्य हुए हैं। इसके अतिरिक्त मैं एक बात, आज चूंकि 21 जून के अवसर पर इंटरनेशनल योगा डे में पूरे विश्व में आज सभी लोगों ने योग किया है, और इसकी जो क्रेडिट है माननीय प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी को देना चाहूंगा कि ये इंटरनेशनल योगा डे उनकी इनिशिएटिव पर शुरू हुआ। पतंजलि ने ये शुरू किया और हमारे जो योग ऋषि थे कंदराओं से निकालने का जो काम है वो बहुत बड़े संतों ने किया है, जिसमें प्रमुख रूप से भारतवर्ष में इस समय रामदेव जी का मैं नाम लेना चाहूंगा, लेहड़ी महाशय का नाम लेना चाहूंगा, क्रिया योग के जो रहे हैं। उसी में क्रिया योग के लेहड़ी महाशय के साथ साथ हमारे योगी सत्यम जी हैं, और श्री श्री रविशंकर जी का भी नाम लेना चाहूंगा। ऐसे जो महाशय हैं, जो हमारे ऐसे लोग हैं, और ब्रह्मर्षि श्री योग ऋषि देवराह बाबा जो 900 वर्षों तक केवल योग के कारण ही इस संसार के में रहे और अपना कायाकल्प करते रहे। तो योग तो एक ऐसा हमारा अभ्यास है जिस अभ्यास से कायाकल्प भी किया जा सकता है और व्यक्ति असीमित वर्षों तक इस संसार को भोग सकता है, जिसका जीता जाता एग्जाम्पल ब्रह्मर्षि श्री देवरा बाबा अभी तक रहे हैं। तो मैं एक बात जरूर कहना चाहूंगा, अपने लिए बताना चाहूंगा कि मैं योगा फेडरेशन ऑफ इंडिया का सीनियर वाइस प्रेसिडेंट मैं बहुत लंबे समय तक रहा, और मैंने फर्स्ट योगा का एशियन चैंपियनशिप कुआलालंपुर में 2008 में हमने कराई थी, और उसमें पूरे विश्व के काफी, एशिया से बहुत सारे देशों से तो चैंपियनशिप के लोगों ने पार्टिसिपेट किया था। तो अब योग जो है एक ऐसा विषय हो गया है कि भारतवर्ष से बहुत सारे यंग, जो कि हमारे यहाँ बहुत ज्यादा इस समय एम्प्लॉयमेंट की बहुत प्रॉब्लम है, तो मैं तो यंग जनरेशन को कहना चाहूंगा कि योग एक ऐसा सब्जेक्ट है जिसको आप अगर प्रैक्टिस करेंगे, इसमें मास्टरी करेंगे, तो पूरे संसार में इसको जाकर आप कहीं पर भी योग के माध्यम से अपने को ऐसा एस्टेब्लिश कर सकते हैं। स्कूल तमाम मैंने देशों में देखा है कि बहुत सारे स्कूल्स चल रहे हैं और लोगों ने आउटस्टैंडिंग वर्क किया है योगा के अंदर। इन शब्दों के साथ मैं पुनः दीपिका कोठारी जी को, राम जी को, जो इन्होंने आउटस्टैंडिंग वर्क किया है, उसके लिए पुनः बधाई देना चाहूँ।
थैंक यू देवदत्त साहब, वेरी इंस्पायरिंग। बहुत अच्छा लगा ये आपका सुन के, और मैं सहमत हूँ कि योग आरंभ से ही रहा है। और आपने कहा केवल मनुष्य के लिए डॉक्टर है, मैं तो कहता हूँ मनुष्य के लिए भी शहरों में डॉक्टर की है, गांव में लोग फिर भी बिना डॉक्टर के ही रह जाते हैं स्वस्थ। तो इन शब्दों के साथ अब मैं इसको कंक्लूड, अगर कोई और अब प्रश्न करना चाहते हैं या इंटरजेक्ट करना चाहते हैं तो कृपया बताएं। तो हाँ, दीपिका जी और राम जी के लिए बोलना चाहूंगा कि ये देवदत्त साहब हमारे मेंबर सेक्रेटरी हैं और ये सीनियर ब्यूरोक्रेट रहे हैं, और खुद ही बताया उन्होंने योग में भी काफी एक्सपीरियंस है इनका। तो so we close this if there are no more questions. So ladies and gentlemen, from deliberations in today's webinar, we can conclude that we are lucky to have been born in a country like India, where rishis have fully decoded the essence of life and formed yoga as a bridge to the same. We are blessed to have researchers who have not only removed the mist over some subtle dimensions of Indic ethos in this series. We would like to thank Dr. Deepika Kothari for her invaluable research, and Sri Ramji for his logistic support in the same. the script part of it, which made this wonderful content come into the public domain. On behalf of Public Police NGO, we could think about interacting with the Government of India, recommending that more and more such research into such ancient, invaluable treasures should be supported fully in the interests of the nation for re-establishing the glory of our great nation. I would like to thank Justice Balakrishnan for his august presence, who, despite his extremely busy schedule, has been able to spare his valuable time for the webinar on this important subject. I would also like to thank the organizer, Sri R.K. Maheshwari, CEO of Public Police NGO, for initiating and coordinating this webinar series. I'll request Mr. Maheshwari for his closing remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Baklu Saab and Deepika Kothari ji and Ramji. You have given us a chance to listen to you and to see your films, the short film which Mr. Baklu has sent us about your film. And we have really enriched with the very important subject aspect of the life. Yoga is a very important aspect of the life. Everyone has to be benefited with this system and action. Because the health is the main purpose of to be happy in the life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to compliment Vimal Vakluji for conducting a research by himself and orating today's session in such a good manner that we all enjoyed this. We learned a lot. Thank you, Vakluji.
Thank you, Verma sir. Thank you for your kind words. And we'll close with that. And would like to thank all the participants, all ladies who took time off to be a part of this. And those who have missed the webinar due to their other commitments today can watch it on the YouTube channel of Public Police NGO. Thank you very much.
Thank you for inviting.